Berg, our virtual meetup, hosted by Bits and Tokens. Today, we are fortunate to have our guest, Zack from SuperRare. He's here to talk about NFTs, why SuperRare and how they differentiate themselves from other different NFT places. Lots of good information, so thank you all for joining. And Zack, take it away.
Sure, yeah, thanks for having me. Very excited to chat with all of you. I am Zack. I'm head of marketing and artist relations at SuperRare. I've been on the team since the early days. I joined a few months after they launched. I was lucky to be at a weekend seminar called Blockchain for Business in New York. And Charles and Jonathan, our CTO and CPO, were there presenting about SuperRare. They had just launched a couple months prior, and that was really the first time I had ever heard of a non-fungible token or crypto art. And the entire thing really in the coming days after that event clicked for me pretty amazingly. Like I've always been a creative, and I've always been very much into art, and I saw the possibilities pretty quickly, and ended up getting in touch with the SuperRare team, and we became close, and the rest is history. But I think the last few years, almost 3 years, has been an incredible journey so far, and it's exciting to see how much the space has evolved and really started to take off this year in 2020. And so we're very excited for what's to come. We have a lot of big plans heading into the next year. And so, yeah, just I feel lucky to be a part of the team for sure.
So it's interesting. The first awareness I had was probably about 2017 when CryptoKitties sort of came about and then sort of went away. And then it's been interesting just to watch the NFTs. I don't know what it was, but it seems like this past couple, maybe because everybody's home, I'm not sure, but it just exploded. And it's so exciting to see all these artists. Like, how do you find your artists? Do you have criteria that they need to meet, or can anybody apply, or how does that even work?
Yeah, so the process has really evolved a lot over time. For a long time, as we were building SuperRare, reaching out to artists, telling them about this, crypto thing on Ethereum where you can tokenize your artwork and sell it for crypto. Most people thought we're trying to scam them. And so it was quite hard for a long time to really even get, artist interest, much less collector interest. But now that the market has really, started to take off, and more collectors have started to enter the space, things have shifted a bit. We're still kind of in a bit of a beta phase right now, where our goal is to build SuperRare into a much more open platform where anyone that has that can show that they are trying to be an artist seriously should be able to participate. Right now there's a level of gatekeeping happening. We're accepting only a small percentage of the many artists that are applying, because just the current tech setup of SuperRare. If we were to accept the 1,000+ artists that are right now, waiting to be reviewed, it would just flood the market. There's not enough curation built on top of SuperRare yet. And so that's what our focus is right now, is really building out the curation layers on top so that collectors can customize their experience and see the artists they want to see, not have to see the artists they don't want to see. Right now, if you look at SuperRare, everyone sees everything. If you look at the activity feed, you see every artwork that gets a bid. I think as we move into the future, it's going to become less about gatekeeping and more about the collector experience and curation levels on top. Giving curators and artists and collectors the ability to share playlists of artworks that they like and artists that they like, and really be, leverage the ability for collectors and artists to, see what everyone else likes and to, bring as many curatorial voices in as possible. Right now, in terms of like the criteria to get in, the amount of artists applying to SuperRare really over the last month, 2 months has grown a pretty incredible amount. For a long time, we were getting, 10, 20 applications a week. We're getting 200-300 a week now. And so it definitely has become a lot harder in the short term to get in, just as we work towards adding these new features that will allow us to open up the platform much more. But the main thing we're really looking for is artists that are doing something unique, doing their own thing, something that will stand out. Really like artists that, when they release a new artwork and it hits the activity feed, immediately who it is. And it's not like, is this one of 100 other people that are all kind of doing similar stuff? And so, there's a lot of new 3D artists entering the space, a lot of amazing animators. There's AI and code-based artists. I mean, we're very lucky to have Pindar on here. He's, one of my all-time favorite artists in the space, and just overall, this is actually a Pindar piece behind me. But I mean, Pindar builds robots that actually paint. And it's one of the most incredible processes I've seen. And so there's a huge variety of type of artists coming in, but it just has to have basically a digital aspect to it, not just like a photo of a painting, but either something that makes the digital piece unique. But yes, that was a long-winded answer to your question.
No, it's very interesting. So, because just from an outsider's perspective, I'm not creating art on the blockchain. I'm interested in it just to see it, but it is, I think that kind of the coolest things that I've seen are the spaces that people can go in and create their own gallery, or, it's like it's their space inside of this world. And so, a little bit earlier, Jerome had your area up. Do you host different shows like that? Like it's sort of like a gallery opening and you have certain artists that are there, or how does that work?
Yeah, definitely. So VR really, more than a year ago, probably a year and a half ago, projects like Crypto Voxels and Decentraland and now Somnium Space and VR Chat, all of these VR worlds are, really started to take off. And I think that for me and for many, VR is really one of the clearest, best use cases yet for digital crypto art. And so like, if you look at a lot of the largest collectors in the space, most of them have galleries in these worlds. And that's a main reason that they're collecting, is to fill these virtual museums and galleries. And so we've seen this happen, and we definitely attribute a lot of the explosion in the space to VR also starting to take off. And I still think we're, very early in both. I think, it's going to continue to grow exponentially. I mean, just a few years from now, the VR experiences and the interoperability of NFTs with VR is going to be just a whole nother level. And so I think it's an exciting time. We definitely see VR as a huge space to help grow and to have a focus on. So we have galleries in Crypto Voxels and Decentraland and VR Chat. Anne on our team is she's in charge of all of the editorial and exhibitions, and she puts on monthly exhibitions in different worlds. The one right here that Jerome is in is the Atlantis exhibition in VR Chat, which was a very interesting one because all of the pieces are actually 3D files. So they're basically 3D sculptures, GLB file types, but all of the pieces you walk around that world and see are single edition artworks that collectors could purchase on SuperRare and then put into their own virtual worlds if they wanted to.
Incredible. It's really cool. Yeah. I am really excited to see what happens in the future. I mean, every few months, something new seems to be popping up. So some of these spaces that you mentioned are familiar to me. And some of the people who make this incredible art, and you see it on Twitter, or that, you know, they might be talking about it. Because you said earlier that digital artists, they don't have an easy time getting into like the MoMA or whatever. They might get like one piece for some reason, but there's not enough space to collect all of this. So, I mean, I don't know. I have so many questions. I'm just so fascinated. Like how much does SuperRare build the spaces, or are you building on top of other people's spaces? So you called this Atlantis. Is that the?
Yeah. So this particular one in VR chat, it's not, so VR chat isn't a blockchain based VR world. It just has, you know, some additional functionality that some of the current blockchain based VR worlds like CryptoVoxels don't yet have. But I think, you know, there's like if in VR chat, anyone can build a world. In CryptoVoxels, on the other hand, you have to actually buy the land and own the land in order to build on it. But yeah, I think, you know, for VR chat, we worked with one of the artists on SuperRare, Glass Crane. He has a company, Illumine Domes, that, you know, focuses on building out these custom VR worlds. And so we worked with them to build the Atlantis one and the Into the Ether one, which was the previous one in VR chat. And then in like Decentraland, we work closely with the team at Decentraland. They've been super great and helpful. I think they saw the same as we did, that, you know, crypto art is a huge use case for digital, for virtual worlds. And so they really put a big effort this year into, you know, building out really nice spaces for different crypto art platforms. They built us a beautiful 5-story museum that, you know, we use to do virtual experiences. And then in CryptoVoxels, you know, I built one of them. You know, we've had artists help build them, but each different world, it works a little differently, but we try to kind of spread it around. Each world has their own perks that some of the other ones maybe don't have. And so we kind of change it up from month to month, depending on what the particular exhibition is and what makes the most sense.
Gotcha. Wow. So does anybody else have any questions for Zack, or?
Absolutely. So I'm walking around VR chat right now. I'm loving this. This world is fantastic. There's just so much stuff here. You said this one's called Atlantis. Can you tell me about some of these artists? Like this one is the Glass Crane by Quantum Logic Gate.
Yep. So yeah, that's Glass Crane. He's the artist that I just mentioned that actually his company built this world for us. But that piece you're looking at there, right there, is a Glass Crane piece. I'm a huge fan and friend of Glass Crane, but you know, he has a very kind of unique and identifiable style that he's kind of created for himself. And I love to see him jumping into the 3D modeling world as well. I think, you know, I really love his 3D stuff. Yeah, I think there's probably, you know, 10 or 12 artists in this particular exhibition. I don't remember exactly all of them, but there's some pretty amazing stuff if you walk around.
Absolutely. I'm really enjoying all of this. It's really cool to see. There's so much art here. And this is just one of, I think, 2 worlds?
Yeah, in VR chat. And then the rest of them are in CryptoVoxels and Decentraland.
Fantastic. So this one, it sounds like I said the last one wrong. It sounds like this one is by Trippy Yogi, and the name of it is Depth of Love.
Yep. Trippy Yogi is another artist that I am a big personal fan of. You know, he's created a very identifiable, a unique style. You know, when a trippy yogi piece hits the marketplace, you know it's a trippy yogi. And I think that's the kind of artists that are really finding success right now, is the ones that are doing something that stands out and is unique to them.
Yeah,
So-
that's awesome.
Can I ask, maybe this is a silly question, but you you said earlier, I believe, that I could go into this world and I could buy this piece of art and I could move it to my gallery. So it would actually leave this space and it would go to another space, or does it always remain in this space?
So this particular, in VR chat isn't blockchain enabled. So we've built this out. Each of these pieces, I think there's probably links somewhere in there that are clickable where it'll take you to SuperRare, where you can buy the actual artwork. But
Okay.
anybody can, you know, once you own the file, or even if you don't own the file, you have the ability to download it. Basically, like the actual file doesn't have value without the token as well. So like anybody can download any of the artwork that's on SuperRare and put it on their frame if they want to, but they don't actually own it. And so that's kind of one of the biggest, you know, differences between the traditional art world and this new emerging digital crypto art world, is that, you know, in traditional art, a small number of people, you know, own and have access to all the art and get to control who can see and who can enjoy it. But with art that's already natively on the internet, it's just silly to try and prevent people from being able to access it, because there's always going to be a way people can access anything that's on the internet. And so now that the files are actually tokenized, the whole kind of, and Hackatow, one of our early artist duos from Italy, kind of said it best a long time ago, but everybody sees it, only one owns it. You know, when, you know, with any internet content, you know, the amount of views and downloads and shares, like this is how internet and online content is really valued largely. And so having that data really just helps to add value to token ownership. So like as a collector myself, having a piece, like I would love for millions of people around the world to have this artwork on a digital frame in their house, because I'm the only person that can prove that I actually own this painting. And so the more people that download and share it on Twitter and enjoy it, the more value that accrues. The more people that see it, the better. And so that's kind of the big difference between crypto art and the traditional art world. And it definitely, you know, oftentimes takes a bit for people to wrap their head around the concept that, you know, why would I pay for this artwork when I can just access it for free anyways? But the main difference is that, you know, one, you're supporting this entire new generation of artists, but also two, you know, the market's really now, you know, building out. I mean, collectors on SuperRare have almost made $1 million now reselling artworks. And so the secondary market aspect is definitely a big focus too for us. And I think that it's important for continuing to bring more collectors into the space.
I would like to add to that. I was listening to one of my buddies, Ken Bozak. He was talking about NFTs the other day, and he related it to taking a picture of like a $20 bill and trying to pay your Netflix subscription with it. You don't own that $20 bill. You can't utilize that $20 bill if you just take a copy of that artwork. So, you know, taking a copy of someone's artwork, like this beautiful artwork that you're looking at on the screen right now, you know, just having a copy of it doesn't mean that you own it. But looking at this, I could tell that it was made in Tilt Brush, which is Google's VR platform. I love utilizing it and putting it into my alt space world. Do that a lot for a lot of different artists. We had some artists that came through for some of my previous events. And I'm actually going to be hosting another big art event here in Miami. Every year we have what's known as Art Basel. I'm sure you heard about it last year with the banana taped to a wall. So this year it was canceled because of COVID. Wah, wah, wah. But we're going to be doing it in virtual reality. A lot of people are going to be doing some small little galleries all around Miami. some of the people I'm working with are going to have a physical gallery that you can go to, but we're going to actually have some art pieces like the one that you're, well, hold on, let me switch the camera so you can see this view. Oh, what happened? I had a different angle, but yeah, there's all sorts of things that you can do in virtual reality and have all of these amazing art pieces in VR with all these different artists. So I'm going to be collaborating with certain artists that are already in SuperRare, like Barbara Totsi, Giselle X Flores, Metageist, Mike Almond, Stelcart, Stina Jones, and the Bad Lemmet, who's co-creating this gallery with us. That's going to be on December 4th through this December 6th in Allspace.
It's great. Yeah, it's a great lineup of artists.
So I had a question, Zach, if you have some time still. It sounds like one of the biggest advantages to this new technology with NFTs on the blockchain is like a new way of doing digital rights management for content creators, right? Kind of for like all rights reserved art. I'm a content creator myself, and I like to put out all my work under free and open licenses. So like either Creative Commons or, open source software licenses. Do you see any uses of NFTs for content creators that have like less restrictive licenses? How do you see this technology fitting in with the commons as well?
Yeah, so I definitely think that there's a big future in the adjusting of the IP and the ownership and what that includes in these particular tokens. Right now, like if you buy an artwork on SuperRare, it's similar to buying a painting. If I buy a Picasso, I can't then go and sell that image for commercial use or sell merchandise with that image, but I own the original fine art piece. And so the way we're looking at it is that each of these artworks on SuperRare, it's basically a digital fine art piece, and the collector owns that artwork, but they don't own the copyright. The artists currently maintain the copyright. That being said, like I definitely see the future heading towards artists having the option to add additional types of ownership. So if you buy this token, you also get merchandising rights or commercial rights or different things like that. And so I definitely think that I've had this conversation with a lot of different artists, and there's a lot of differing opinions on it. Many artists aren't comfortable giving up the copyright and they want to maintain that ownership of the copyright and the ability to decide any future uses of it. But there's also plenty of artists that I've talked with that would be totally cool giving up merchandising rights or commercial rights to an artwork. And so I think that there's platforms like OpenSea and like Rarible that are more of these general NFT marketplaces that are adding, not just art, but also insurance and virtual land and gaming collectibles and all sorts of things. And I think that, in the coming months, we'll see additional types of NFT projects launched that are potentially, fully focused on the IP and ownership side and giving, like potential, merchandising contracts and things like that. But I don't know if that fully answered your question or not, but.
No, that's interesting. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
So who are your favorite artists in the space at the moment?
Ooh. That's a tough one. Gonna get me in a little trouble, but I can.
Don't mention me, Zach. Don't mention me. But I know I am.
I'm definitely mentioning you, Pindar. You're 100% one of my clear favorites. But really, it's hard for me to pick because I have so many close relationships with all of the artists. My main role is that I'm the one that, maintains the relationships and onboards all of them. And I really see something unique in all of the artists that we're adding to SuperRare. You know, overall, like you know, I'm a huge fan of Matt Kane. I always have been. I mean, the technical ability and just creativity that goes into his work is phenomenal. And, you know, really just pretty incredible compared to a lot. And then, you know, Ferocious is a up and coming 17-year-old who's just kind of hit the space this year like a total fury and is dominating. If you haven't heard of Ferocious, check her out. She's an amazing young artist that's doing really, really well now. And really, you know, I would say, you know, go to SuperRare and check it out, because it's hard for me to even mention favorite artists without, you know, talking for an hour. But you know, Hackatao, Frenetic Void, Coldy, I mean, the list really goes on for a long time. If you look at my collection, that's probably the best way. SuperRare, my username is Roses on SuperRare, and so if you check out my collection, that's one of the better ways to see, you know, some of the artists that I'm interested in. But, you know, you mentioned Giselle a few minutes ago, that she's going to be, you know, I am a big fan of Giselle. I think I own her first ever SuperRare token. Yeah, I love all of them. So.
Zach, I wasn't planning on talking, but you're too modest to mention this. Zach has one of the most iconic collections, and he's an artist myself. He has one of the most iconic collections on SuperRare. It's his Roses series, where he collaborates with other artists, and you'll see some of it. You'll see some amazing collaborations between Zack and Ferocious, for example. You name it, and it's really a beautiful. It's a good thing to look at, and you can see a lot of his favorite artists there, I guess. But it's kind of an unfair question to ask your favorite artist, because how do you rate art? So hope that gets you off the hook there, Zach. I'll be quiet again now.
No, yeah, I appreciate that, Pindar. It's you know, my Rose art, it really kind of started in the beginning as, you know, a way to learn SuperRare from the artist's side, and learn the platform from the artist's side, and it became a lot more than that. You know, my sister Rose passed away in 2016, and so all of my Rose art is all in honor of her. And so I do a lot of collaborations with different artists on SuperRare, and you know, it's been a great journey doing that. I think the plan is that there will be 150 of them created. So far 125 have, so there will only ever be 25 more, and I've got some cool collabs in the works with different artists that very excited to announce soon.
That's awesome. There was a question, I don't know, she might be shy, but there was a question about Alyssa Christine. She said, is SuperRare interested in accepting new VR artists? She is co-creating the Miami Art Tech Music exhibit with Blockchain Universe that we've heard about, so.
Yes, so yeah, we're always interested in adding new artists. You know, all I can ask now is just a little bit of patience, but definitely feel free to reach out to me, Alyssa. My email is zack@superrare.com. You can see on SuperRare on the website kind of what we need to see from artists to kind of review and get them accepted. But I'd say just hit me up over email and we can discuss it. Would love to check out your stuff. But you know, right now we love all types of digital art. I mean, there's a number of VR artists that are doing really, really well on SuperRare, and I love the space, and I think that the creation of art in VR is a whole new rabbit hole that's now being created that I think is going to just continue to become more and more incredible in the coming years. So yeah, always happy to look at more art.
Wonderful. Hi, thank you. I appreciate that. And I saw the Atlantis exhibit and was I just loved it. And it's very inspiring to be able to, you know, engage in the art as a virtual reality artist. I'm sure a bunch of us can attest to the same thing. We have our art, a lot of it is in our own bubbles, you know, and so having a space where it can actually be experienced by more people is just so much more fun. And VR Chat is allowing more of that opportunity and having fact that you all have that gallery in there, and you have a few galleries. So it's very cool. I really enjoyed it. So I'd love to participate in some way. And I'm sure a bunch of the artists in our show would also be interested. So thank you for the answer. And I also go by Lover Worldwide. So
Okay.
thank you.
Make some awesome pieces. She's amazing.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jerome.
So my last question I wanted to ask is, where does SuperRare go next? Said that you got a lot of things in the pipeline. Can you get a little hint?
Yeah, for sure. So the big focus right now is launching our new timed auctions. We've been working on them for a long time, and we're very, very excited to get them launched in just a few short weeks. But right now, the bidding and auction system on SuperRare is been the same for the last 2 years. That you can either have a buy now list price, or you can just place a bid, and it's basically this total open offer system. But we're excited to have a much more structured option where artists will be able to actually plan timed auctions, and it'll all be done automatically through the platform. And then really, our big focus heading into next year is adding the curation levels on top of SuperRare that will allow us to really scale and add many more artists at a faster rate. I think, right now we're, still in a bit of our, beta, in a sense that, we're not yet ready to add thousands of new artists without, making that collector experience just overwhelming. But once we get these new features added to where collectors can customize their experience, we'll be able to add a much, much larger amount of artists and give them the ability to get involved. And so I think that's really one of our biggest focuses heading into next year. But a huge roadmap of plans. Our team was completely self-funded up until just a couple months ago. And so now that we've, finally been able to raise some capital, we hired a incredible engineer team that's growing quickly now. And so, we're very excited about the next 6 months. And I would just say, keep an eye out. Timed auction is going to be a big one. And then heading into 2021, you'll definitely see a lot of changes. Right now, SuperRare is maybe 10% of what we know it could be. And so we're excited to finally have some ammo and the ability to build out the team and really pump out the features that we know all the collectors and artists really want.
That's fantastic. Timed auction. That sounds really cool. Can't wait to see that. As well as more scalability, it sounds like. Okay. I'm really excited to see where SuperRare goes. And I guess I have one more question, actually. Where do you see you got your SuperRare compared to your competitors? Like, what's the difference between SuperRare and all the other NFT marketplaces that are out there?
Yeah, so SuperRare is, the OG. We were the first. We created this space. We're the first platform to have royalties. And I think that, we made the decision very early on to focus everything on single edition artworks. Pretty much every other platform has, the ability to tokenize multi editions, 100 editions of this artwork or whatever it is. On SuperRare, everything is one of one. So it just, there's a little bit more of a scarcity rare factor to the artworks. And then, one of the big kind of, in my personal opinion, really interesting things about SuperRare is that, we don't mint anything on behalf of the artists. The artists are the ones that log in, and from their wallet that only they have access to, they're minting the artworks themselves. And so 10 years from now, or however long, you'll always be able to track the history of that token back to the unique wallet that only that artist has access to. I'm not going to name names, but some of the other platforms out there do kind of mint, from mint for the artists. And so the process is a bit different. But I think that just the authenticity of a SuperRare token, in my opinion right now, just nothing else competes. You know, I'm friends with people at all the other platforms, and I know that artists love to experiment and try other platforms. You know, I think that there's a place for other platforms too. You know, right now, you know, it's becoming harder and harder to get onto SuperRare, and ideally that changes heading into next year as we open up. But until then, I love the fact that anyone can go to Rareable and create. You know, I think that, you know, having a place where people can experiment and get involved in the space is also important. And so, you know, I think our biggest differentiator really is just, you know, our team, our ability to, you know, really, you know, our hearts are in the right place in this. And, you know, we've been doing this for the longest, and, you know, we were laughed at for a long time. People thought that, you know, digital art, it was kind of a crypto art was a pretty stupid thing. And we knew all along that it was revolutionary. And so it's exciting now to see, you know, I feel like almost every day a new crypto art platform pops up. You know, old crypto projects from 2017 that did ICOs are now suddenly becoming digital art marketplaces because, you know, it's just a very clear opportunity. And, you know, I think that a year from now, there will potentially be hundreds more platforms that get launched. But I think also that, you know, what our goal is to give collectors a single place where they can view their entire collection of art. You know, right now you can only see SuperRare artworks, but you know, and if you OpenSea is great because you can see all of the tokens that you own in your entire wallet. But I think that collectors would also like to have a similar experience, but just for art. You know, I don't want to see my digital art next to, you know, my gaming collectibles or next to my virtual land. I want to have a place where I can curate and look at all of my art together. And so I think that, you know, that's another big area that I see things growing in.
Well, this has been a fantastic talk, guys. My name's Jerome from Blockchain Universe. Don't mind my avatar. I just like dressing as these silly avatars, but it's been a pleasure having you join us today, Zack Yanger from SuperRare. Thanks for telling us a little bit about the history of SuperRare and how you got into this space and NFTs and what's next for this amazing community that just continues to grow and do amazing things. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and thanks for bringing him to us, Pittsburgh group.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. As I say to everyone, someday when we all get to see each other in person again somewhere, I hope to meet you all. I'm really jotted down a bunch of names. I'm really excited to dive in and learn a lot more. Thank you for your time, everyone. I really appreciate you spending a little bit of your Saturday with us. And Blockchain in the Berg is looking forward to 2021. So I think it's going to be a great year coming up. So thank you so much.
Definitely got to do some mixed reality events, being there in Pittsburgh as well as in virtual reality for those that can't make it. It's going to be amazing in 2021. Can't wait, you guys. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Also, come out to our event on December 4th through December 6th. It's going to be arttechmiami.com. Come check it out. Come enjoy. It's going to be amazing. Have a great day, everybody.
Sounds good. Bye. Thank you.
Take care.